All right. Greetings, everyone. This is going to be open forum freestyle discussion and Q&A. First, welcome to Dorsey's Resource. Before we get started, I'd like to give a disclaimer. This video is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her homework and research into the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. In the event you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged that you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource is not liable or responsible for any misuse of this information. These are simply my opinions on the topic being discussed. With that being said, all rights are reserved. Now, let's get into things. This is going to be an open discussion. This is also Q&A. Depends on how many people chime in and how things go. It's been a minute. Want to let you guys know I'm still here. Just want to give my opinion about some things that are taking place. I was told basically some time ago, some of you all who do follow me, who are friends on my personal Facebook page, who do know me. I don't allow everybody in my circle, by the way, but there are people who are subscribed to me that do know me. And I've been trying to be patient, but just want to let you guys know, give an update. I'm still here. I've been following information pertaining to the reset. I've been trying to be patient. However, as I've discussed previously, I am displeased with some things that has gone on, and I'm going to kind of speak in code a little bit, the best that I can, without mentioning that private clandestine operation I was part of. Now, as of lately, I have not signed any new non-disclosure agreements. I'm part of several other private programs, which I won't discuss or go into detail about what those were, because it's neither here nor there. But one in particular that I was public about, and there was a reason why I was public about that particular private clandestine operation. And I want to assure you the things I talked about was accurate. I do have some people watching in the background. I won't go into certain things for security purposes, but I had a lot of people that inquired about when I did the video some time ago about the black card and my experience and whatnot dealing with that private clandestine operation. But I want to say, you know, here it is, we're in March, and last year when the individual resurfaced in November, we were told we would be funded by now, by January. So it's like, here we go with the same old, same old. So I said, instead of vacillating, going back and forth, I'm on the fence about whether or not I'm going to come back. Just to let them know I did have intentions on reaching out to a couple of individuals, because I had specific key questions in particular about the paperwork that I had already filed. And I'm not one of those people to let stuff go easily. I think, you know, that's letting them get away with too much, that it appears to be that they would stall this thing out for 10 years. Then you come back all of a sudden, now you're switching people, and it appears as though that you were withholding information all this time. You were keeping it compartmentalized. Then I have some trolls, which I've identified. One in particular was connected to that private clandestine operation that left the real derogatory comment. I still don't know who they are specifically, but I was correct that I did, from the investigation that I did on my own, did see that they were a member, and they were basically, I take that as an attack, basically even a threat towards me. And I wanted to clear some things up, that morally it's immoral what they did. And just, you know, giving my way in, the only reason a lot of people may not have gone public, or some of the reasons why some of these people aren't in trouble with the law, is because they're above the law, in a sense. Those of you all who know about the private sector, and I'm not just talking about the private, public-private sector. No, there's a whole nother level. I'm talking about the free private sector that involves the super elite, and that's information pertaining to that private clandestine operation I was part of, because I feel as though back then, when they recruited us, because I studied in what was known as the sovereign citizen movement, and I want to say that's an umbrella term. There's really no such thing as sovereign citizen legally on the books. The State Department, also known as the Secretary of State in Washington, D.C., aka State Department once again, only classifies several types of citizenship. For what I understand, there's national, there's U.S. citizen, there's alien, non-resident alien, and maybe one more. Those are official classifications. Sovereign citizen is two separate words that are put together as one. And there were some people that said you can't use two nouns in proper grammar. So that's something that was made up. It's an umbrella term that's basically used to discredit people from looking into this type of information, because they don't want the left hand to know what the right hand is doing and vice versa. They want to keep you programmed and brainwashed on this information about the public sector. Now, I do appreciate the information that I learned from this private clandestine operation. It was life-changing, but some of these things I already had a foundation with studying in the redemption education, and that's what I prefer to call it, because you're, in a sense, redeeming what belongs to you. When you do know about things what went on with the birth certificate, the process, contract law, and other things that pertain to the court system, the judicial system. A lot of this pertains to the court system, and that oftentimes is not talked about or missed. And I'm not a pseudo lawyer. I myself, I don't give legal advice. I do give a disclaimer. I don't do consultations. I've had people in the past, not saying I would like to do those things, but I want to make sure I'm the type of person that I'm going to be structured properly before I do any of that stuff. I'm not one of these people, these snake oil salesmen or con artists that just come out and say, I have information. I'm going to, you know, unless I'm an expert or I have a lot of information in that regard where I feel confident, where I'm going to ask for donations or charge people, etc., then I'm not going to basically do that. And that's why I only keep a small circle. There's only a reason why I only allow certain people in my circle, because I have enough people to let you guys know that I study with, that I do receive information from different sources. I do really have credible sources from different regards. I just want to make that clear. I can go more in depth, maybe for a separate video. I will say that for. I have some notes just going through right now to give my weigh in about some things. But in my opinion, just to reiterate, this thing should have been released to those who met the requirements over approximately 10 years ago. Those of us who paid for the seminars and already signed NDAs back then. I don't see why, you know, they want us to sign another one. They need to be more specific about what happened to our paperwork and that stuff, that information that we filed already. You're not going to just get away with, we want you to do this all over again and we just forget about what we did 10 years ago. I need to know, are we still going to get something from that we filed? Because if not, you're going to have a major problem and law enforcement will be contacted. And this thing better happen. And that's all I'm going to leave it at. But they better clarify that specifically, because there's some people that are already aware. I had a friend of mine that looked into this a couple years ago, and I didn't know anything about this, but some people did file complaints with the FBI, I found out, in Tampa, Florida, and also Orlando, Florida, from what was shared with me from a friend of mine that sent me an email. And I'm just saying, we're trying to give them an opportunity, a chance to procure this, but it appears to me that to reiterate, they're compartmentalizing this information, and I don't see why it's like a waste of time that all of a sudden the individual comes out now and just starts sharing this information that we could have been learning years ago, that now you have a stampede of people all at once trying to learn this information. To me, in my opinion, about the DTC, yeah, I said the name, you know, I'm kind of still speaking in code, but letting you guys know certain things that I myself personally am very displeased. I'm very disenfranchised, and this is wrong. This is immoral. These people, in my opinion, do not necessarily have our best interest at heart. If they claim that they want to do humanitarian projects, it appears to me the first people they should have helped is their own so-called family. If they call us or refer to us as family, or tell us to refer to each other as family, pertaining to those that were part of PTK or Kingship Manor Coalition, if it's really about family. But these so-called private humanitarian projects, programs should have happened. This thing should have been released already. It's no excuses. It's well overdue. You can't resurface one individual, not putting all the blame on him or saying it's his fault because he was just the front man, but it's something I suspected all this time. it's actually coming to pass now. And I'm, like I said, to reiterate, it's not just myself I'm displeased, but other people that I talk to are very upset. They're very angry. And there will be measures taken if this thing, if people, certain individuals do not receive their information back, or are not satisfied, how can I put it, financially, because our private documents were submitted. And I don't see why, again, you have to sign a whole nother non-disclosure agreement. We already went through that all over again for that, pertaining to that specific private humanitarian program or project. Just doesn't make any sense to me. And I still haven't signed one as of yet, a current one. But back then, for this particular one, I did. Now, there's some other things I'm part of separately. Only thing I can say about those projects was I call it a form of investment. And that's all I'll leave it at. That was separate. That has nothing to do with that other thing I was part of. Now, I'm willing to sign an NDA for that, for those, because I don't discuss that with anybody. Only people I've discussed with is, in that in particular, was people who are individuals who are particular members privately. So I've stayed hush-hush about that. But this particular thing was already public based on the information that even David Clarence had online, and some other people, Dr. Sam Kennedy, some of the old Patriot gurus from back in the day when PTK first came on the scene and said, I'm going to gather you all up, I'm going to assist you all, I'm going to help you all out. And, you know, just giving my weigh in on that. And it didn't manifest and didn't go down the way it should have. So, like I say, to reiterate, this thing should have been released to those who met the requirements, paid for the seminars, and already signed NDAs. And we need to be made aware if we were going to receive something from that, because I was under the impression that we weren't going to have to open up bank accounts again and do all that other stuff. And what happened to our original documents, because he did promise originally that we would receive that back. And we shouldn't have to come to a seminar just to get that original package back, unless you're going to give us a settlement or payment or from those documents that we already submitted. But that hasn't been, to me, as of yet, hasn't been clarified or specified. That's why I'm not signing any NDAs, any new NDAs for that particular private clandestine operation. And you can look up the word private clandestine. That is, clandestine is a term, actual terminology. They used this in a show called The Book of Secrets some years ago, by the way. So I'm just revisiting that particular event to give clarification and things, because back then, you know, I was under the impression I would have never attended had it not been for one of my relatives who encouraged me to attend. Honestly, and now I think back, you know, I wish he had never told me about it, in a sense, because I really, honestly, I wasn't going to attend. I wasn't going to put that much stock in it back then, because it was a waste of time. I could have moved on with my life. I could have done other things, just focused on other things related to the reset, and been fine, because they told us back then with that particular private clandestine operation, even at one time, he said, I want you to quit your job earlier on. Then he turned around and things changed up, said, I want you to stay in the system, continue to pay your taxes, etc. So things keep changing up, and I'm seeing a reoccurring pattern again. They stated this was going to be done by January. Here it is. We're in the middle of March now, and nothing yet. You know, this is ridiculous. And this shows that when you give your word, this is not good business. This is a bad look. You can't trust when somebody tells you they're going to do something. You know, you're not going to mess with that person anymore business-wise. You know, when a person keeps lying to you, or they keep changing the information up, that's a form of running game. I was talking to a member some years ago. Him and his brother had dropped out a long time ago. I don't know what happened to them. But I'm going to say their real names to show credibility. Whenever I do decide to mention people's real names, by the way, this is only to show credibility. But during that time, some years ago, back around 2010, there was another event we had to attend when they broke us up in different regions and said we had to be with our regional group. So me and a certain individual, we had to go to Canada. So after I got back, I received a call from two brothers in Chicago. And going over their name just to show credibility, his name was Corey Norwood and Rob Norwood. And they told me, they asked me about it, and they felt displeased, and he mentioned because they were from Chicago and I was in Detroit, and they said, hey John, they said, you know, we're from two cities where, you know, you can't you know, keep running game on people after a while. People are going to catch on. There's a saying in the street that game recognizes game, and to me, in my opinion, dealing with this high level stuff, this is not a game. You don't play with people's lives like this. You don't lie to people. And this video is not just about me. I'm speaking on behalf of other people who expressed to me they were displeased. And this is even way back then. And another individual that I know that had dropped out, and he dropped out right before we went through requirements to receive the so-called black card. And that was, by the way, that was deactivated because based on certain information a lot of people asked me about, because there were people messing up according to their rules of the Federal Reserve. Secretly, they were emptying out ATM machines. They were being very flamboyant with their transactions. They were not being private. I get that. I understand that. And I'm just revealing this now to show credibility. That's the only reason. I kept my mouth shut back then, and I followed the rules. But there's a reason why I went public some years ago, was to show credibility that I'm not making this up, by the way. And like I said, to reiterate, I'm very displeased, and it's up to them to basically, they need to, you know, make things right in a way. And you guys know what I mean already. But the last thing I'm going to go over dealing with this, and this is also open Q&A for those of you all who do have questions, or the few of you all watching who may want to chime in. When it was alleged that some years ago, dealing with the particular foreign currency, that there were those who exchanged already, yet they claim those of us who have not exchanged need to continue to wait. And there's this talk about these humanitarian projects. I want to say, be careful what organizations you donate to. Make sure you investigate these organizations and do research before you donate money, because some of these organizations are a front to launder money and do other things. And make sure the money, if you're going to donate, it's going to go to the people. It's going to actually help out who you intend to help out. Do thorough research. There's even firms you may be able to hire to investigate. I've just heard, you know, a lot of people out there have donated to organizations or whatnot, and it did not go necessarily to help the people. So make sure before you decide, in my opinion, to donate, do your research, because all of these organizations may not necessarily be good. And this has already come out. Just to give you guys a heads up. Hold on, by the way. All right. Thank you guys for waiting. See somebody in the comment section say, I purchased the money but did not have to sign a NDA. Let me have to reread this. Okay. There we go. I said, I purchased the money but did not have to sign an NDA. I have some people said, burn, because I'm on my phone, so this message goes out. I have some people said to burn the money and people will kill you on the Iraqi dinar. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Zelda Thomas. But I did read your comment. Thank you for the comment, by the way, joining in. You guys, just to give you a heads up, you are welcome to join in. This is also open Q&A, but I just wanted to give my way in. Terry McLaughlin says, hello, greetings to you, Terry McLaughlin. So I just wanted to give, you know, my way in, and this is, like I said, this is not about me. This is about other people as well. This is messing with people's lives. They've dragged this on for years, and you need to hold these people accountable. Don't let these people just get away with it and just say everything is hunky-dory, everything is all good now. No, you're not getting off that scot-free that easy, especially in certain individuals who knew this information, refused to share it, and just stopped all of a sudden and just held this up. That shows they have an ulterior motive, by the way. That shows this is not honorable. This is very dishonorable. And these are not benevolent people. This was very malevolent of them. They're not benevolent at all for the way they keep stalling this. And I hear the cabal, there's a reason why I have an issue with certain corrupt individuals in the political realm who are also behind stalling this and holding this up, not just here in the States, but even in that other country in particular, and operatives and minions, by the way. Because keep in mind, you have to look at the end of the day, please do research behind who the cabal people are. Says, are you talking about the fellow? Yes, Zelda. Yes, that's who I am referring to. I hear that they are still actually behind the scenes, by the way, even because the Treasury, whatever, from what I understand, and I'm just going by the intel providers. In some instances, I don't have sources as high up as some people do. I'm just keeping it real. But I was told, this was shared with me just from listening to the conference calls that are out there, that's public, that is available, that pertains to the dinar and other foreign currency or whatever. And they stated that that this keeps being stopped at the last minute. Like I hear the last thing is the release codes are supposed to be released to the banks. I guess that's what there'll be official green light given. It says also look into 3 city states. Terry McLaughlin. Yeah, I'm aware of the three city states. Are you referring to how Washington D.C. is the military arm of the world? The United Kingdom, aka Great Britain, England is the financial arm of the world, and the Vatican is the religious arm of the world, and all 3 supposedly form a trust. Is that what you were referring to? Okay, so Terry McLaughlin says, yes, sir. Okay, thank you for confirmation. Yes, I am aware of that. We have discussed that before in a previous conference call. A live discussion some time ago in one of my previous videos. Thank you for that. That is important to note. I'm still doing research behind that because they also have other financial arms, like even in the States domestically, like New York. And then I found out Chicago is like headquarters for the COMEX exchange or futures market that deals with the mercantile exchange. So does this mean we can still, not sure what you're referring to, Zelda Thomas, like the last part, it looks like you didn't finish the sentence or whatever you were asking specifically. So if you could come back and I can try to answer that question. But also looking at not just England as the financial arm of the world, but looking to New York as well. You are definitely on fire. You do have it. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. So I hear that the COMEX exchange, a futures market in Chicago. So this means we can still social. Not sure what you mean is Zelda Thomas. Again, if you could put your question together, rephrase it, because it looks like it was broken up with what you were asking. I'm not sure what you're referring to once again, by the way. So you can clarify. This is open Q&A, just in case you're joining me. This is Dorsey's Resource. It has been a minute. I wanted to let you guys know I'm still here. I'm monitoring things that's going on. I'm still paying attention. I've been, behind the scenes. I've been doing some other things too, by the way. I still do research and I still do study. And I just wanted to give you guys an update as far as what I feel, in my opinion, that we need to hold these people responsible. And this was, in my opinion, they are intentionally holding critical information with that private event that I attended. And they are also intentionally holding up this reset. It appears as though this reset is being held up by, there's probably a few people at the very top that's controlling all of this stuff, that a few of them have this elite knowledge and they want to selectively teach or compartmentalize this to certain individuals, what I'm piecing together. And a lot of this appears as though this is coming from out west, by the way. And this is very dirty. This is corrupt. They're using the banking system as a weapon against us. This is a form of economic, financial terrorism. This is forced oppression. And especially people that paid money already to these seminars, you guys are real dirty for whoever decided to stop that and didn't follow through with the rest of us and pull us through like they should have. That's what I'm speaking towards. So I'm not signing no new NDAs as of yet. I need more clarification. It's for that particular private clandestine operation I'm referring to. Now, the other few or whatever, you know, fine. And I'm not going into anything dealing with the foreign currency. That's something separate. That's something totally separate, even though there's some sort of relation or whatever, or whatnot. But I'm just letting you guys know, you know, just hold them accountable. And I want to give my weigh in on what's going on. And my next video I was working on too was I was going to discuss about reparations, just to give you guys a preview. The previous video was geared towards my people, African Americans, black people, because I do believe one of the things in bipartisanship, I do believe in reparations, because I was speaking with some older people. By design, they never wanted a lot of black people to receive form of economic power. They would give foreigners that come over here a tax incentive for loans, and this is known historically that banks and insurance companies practice discriminatory methods against black people, where they would not loan, or black people would pay into the insurance system and not receive compensation if their houses caught on fire, stuff like that. There's a history of that, and it ties in with a certain ethnic group too, whose name I won't say, that has a lot of control over the financial system. I see right in the chat, a couple people jumped in. I'm gonna go with Zelda Thomas first. Okay, says text keep messing up. Can we still use our social security number? Okay. Says text keep messing up. Can we still use our social security number and with the number on the back of the card for bank information? Yes, to answer your question real quick, Zelda Thomas, I believe you still can. In my opinion, they're hiding that information. Money Boy in the building says, "What's up, family? What's up to you, fam? Greetings." He says, "Email me. I have some great info." Shoot me your email, Money Boy. I'm not sure if I still have it. In particular, if you want to leave it in here, if you want to inbox me or whatever, that's fine. By the way, that what you do, definitely true American patriot. You are preaching truth. I definitely know this. Okay, hold on. You are preaching truth. I definitely know this, and we need more like you, all of us as one. Take back what is ours and let them know we are not stupid. Yes. Money Boy is good too. Okay, greetings. Thank you for the compliment, Terry McLaughlin. I appreciate it. So before I shut things down, I'll back before you guys. If you guys have any more questions, feel free really quick to chime in the chat. I was just giving my weigh in, my opinion of what's going on. I may not, because I was told a while back, they basically, some people that know me personally, threatened me and basically wanted me to be quiet. So I stayed hush-hush for a while, but I'm still here. I just wanted to let you guys know what my opinion about the situation was, that I'm seeing this vacillation. So I said, instead of going back and forth, I'm on the fence dealing with that private clandestine operation I was part of, whether or not I was going to come back for the first round or whatever. And oh, this is another thing I wanted to touch on too. And I probably would have to save a whole separate video for this, dealing with the cryptocurrencies. Now, I was all in on this at first, but I don't find it a coincidence. Prior to 2018, when Bitcoin, you guys may remember, went as high as 19, 20,000, then all of practically last year, going into parts of this year, where Litecoin dropped from over $200 and dropped down significantly. Not saying it's going to go back up, but I was told shortly thereafter that the futures market had came in and they had done some things to manipulate the price, because the commodities market is a market that's heavily manipulated. But I hear now they have control of the cryptocurrencies too. So you want to be careful with the cryptocurrencies. And I want to let you guys know historically, because I have a good memory too, by the way, back in 2013, you had other digital currencies. What makes the cryptocurrencies a little bit more unique is simply the blockchain technology. The encryption is a lot better versus the digital currencies in the past. But digital currencies have been out for a very long time. By the way, Bitcoin is not the first digital currency. You had prior digital currencies, one of them being Liberty Reserve in the year 2013, was significant, was shut down that year. And I remember back then they were trying to downplay Bitcoin, and they were messing with several exchanges. But the same time earlier that year in 2013, the price of silver had gone from over $30 an ounce. And the futures market, I hear, is responsible, the big boys at the top that manipulate the market. Somebody bought up, made a purchase order and bought up $1 billion worth of contracts to artificially push the price and suppress it back down to like around $15, $16, $18 an ounce. That's why for years since 2013, you've seen the price of silver never really rise above $20 an ounce. You know, mind you, it was above 30 an ounce, but the early part of that year and the early part of 2013, they pushed it down. So I don't find this a coincidence. Then all of a sudden, they're elevating the cryptocurrencies, putting it on a pedestal. When I saw on the local news here in Detroit, this is a true story. Some years ago, there was an individual who was telling me about the deep web, and he didn't really go into detail about it. And I remember seeing a story on the local news where the FBI had made these busts that people were using Bitcoin to make these purchases and buying drugs. They were using it in human trafficking, prostitution, and things of that sort. So I don't find this a coincidence that someone brought to my attention that the cryptocurrencies were also started by the elites too. So there's a connection too with the Federal Reserve. I want to let you guys know that they're still behind the scenes, and the so-called bad guys came in and are manipulating the crypto market. From what I was told, the futures market that messes with the price of silver, because from what I understand, there's some groups that had lawsuits against the manipulators of the market. For example, I heard Rick Rule, he's with vice president, I believe, don't quote me on it, of Asset Sprott Management Company. And there's some other like financial economists or whatever, because this has been going on for a very long time. This is something that the current administration needs to really take a close look into, and this artificial suppression needs to stop. Because if you guys understand the financial market better, and I encourage you all, you buy physical silver, precious metals, buy even silver quarters, Washington quarters, mercury dimes from years ago that had actual silver content. And it's preferable that you go to your local coin dealer and learn as much as you can about precious metals. By the way, I did give a disclaimer, so this is not legal advice. This is not commodities advice. I'm just sharing my opinions from my experience. But the cryptocurrencies, like I say, to reiterate, I can do a whole nother story on it, but don't be fooled. There's individuals that are selling the cryptocurrencies like it's a benevolent form of currency. That's I do hear it is eventually going to be used as the future currency, but however, don't be fooled that it's this benevolent currency that's better than the US dollar or whatever. The same cabal people that were behind setting up the FRNs, these let's say these worthless certificates in our pocket, the same people that are behind these worthless, this fiat currency right here, which is no longer backed by gold and silver. But I do hear the new currency that's coming out is supposed to be, they're also behind and in control of the cryptocurrencies. Just to keep it short, simple, do research behind who started Bitcoin, who was the inventor, because it wasn't this guy they're claiming that's Satoshi Nakamoto. That's a pseudonym name. They actually arrested a Japanese guy in California, and he even said he believes someone had made that name up, and he was falsely arrested because they were trying to get to the bottom of who started Bitcoin, because there was a site on the deep web called the Silk Road. Guys, do research into this. This is serious, because you have individuals that are trying to sell the cryptocurrencies like this is something benevolent. But this shows a tie-in how you have these criminal cabal people who are into human trafficking, sex trafficking, bringing drugs in the country. They were kidnapping people. They were doing transactions on the deep web. And I saw on the local news here in Detroit, Channel 7 WXYZ show where the FBI did an investigation and they busted these people and these transactions that were being done. And they also, I heard, created other servers and stuff. So, because there was these individuals were trying to sell me this thing where the cryptocurrencies is, you know, because it's decentralized and this, that, and the other, that this is a great benefit, and it's so they're acting like they're benevolent. And what's the other saying where they're acting holier than thou or whatever, that this is supposed to be just so awesome. But no, it's manipulated just like those Federal Reserve notes I just pulled out. So peep game. don't be fooled. I'm giving you guys some action-packed, powerful info. I can go more in depth. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Not sure lately I have been, I do have settings in my comment section after I upload the video where it has to go through approval. So generally, most of the time I'll approve the comment if it isn't spam, but down the road I may disable the comments too. And that's what I have previously when things got out of hand. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for joining me. You can follow me at Dorsey's Resource. I'm on Instagram at Dorsey's Resource _ 2019 on Instagram. I'm also at Dorsey's Resource on Facebook. I'm at Dorsey's Resource on Minds.com, Gab.ai. Of course, I'm on YouTube at Dorsey's Resource. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, when I do put out new videos, YouTube will notify you in the upper right-hand corner of the message section. So don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you all for joining me. Until next time, thank you for joining me.